Gilded cage. 𝐂𝐄 lived in a gilded cage. Not a literal one, of course, but one forged from comfort, complacency, and the suffocating expectations of her family. Her life was mapped out: graduate, marry a suitable boy from a good family, have children, and maintain the family's reputation. It was a life of tea parties, designer clothes, and social obligations. A world away from the dreams that flickered dimly in her heart. She yearned to be a writer. Her notebooks were filled with stories, poems, and observations. She saw the world in vibrant colors, felt emotions deeply, and had a burning need to express herself. But her family dismissed her passion as a childish hobby, an unnecessary distraction from her real responsibilities. Her father, a successful businessman, believed in practicality and stability. Writing is all well and good, beta, he would say, patting her hand dismissively, but it won't pay the bills. Focus on something worthwhile. Her mother, a socialite, was more concerned with appearances. A writer, well, what will people say? It's not a respectable profession for a girl from our background. But you shall try to conform. She attended the right parties, smiled at the right boys, and diligently studied economics at university, a subject that felt as dry and lifeless as dust in her mouth. But inside, a storm raged. Her creative spirit felt stifled, suffocated by the weight of expectations. One evening, at a lavish wedding reception, 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 found herself cornered by Rohan, a suitable boy her parents had been subtly nudging her towards. He was handsome, well-mannered, and heir to a considerable fortune. He was also utterly boring. So, 𝐈𝐓'𝐒, Rohan said, his eyes gleaming with forced enthusiasm, what do you think about the stock market? 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 forced a smile. Oh, it goes up, it goes down. She wanted to scream. She wanted to talk about the way the moonlight painted the garden in silver, the despair in the eyes of the caterer, the secret stories hidden in the faces of the guests. But she couldn't. She was trapped. That night, staring at a reflection in the mirror, 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 saw a stranger, a hollow-eyed, pale imitation of the person she was meant to be. A tear escaped and traced a path down her cheek. Is this it? She whispered to herself. Is this all I am? The catalyst? The turning point came in the form of a small, unassuming package delivered anonymously to her doorstep. Inside was a worn copy of 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 Grass by Walt Whitman and a handwritten note. The world awaits your voice. Don't silence it. 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 was floored. Who knew about her secret passion? Who understood the yearning in her soul? The book felt like a lifeline, a message of hope in a sea of despair. She devoured Whitman's words, his celebration of individuality, his embrace of the human spirit. It ignited a fire within her, a desperate need to break free. She started writing again, pouring her heart onto the page, letting her true voice emerge. But she knew she couldn't keep her passion a secret forever. Her parents were already planning her engagement to Rohan. The pressure was mounting. One day, while visiting her grandmother, a wise and perceptive woman who had always seen beneath 𝐂𝐓'𝐒's carefully constructed facade, she confided in her. Daddy, 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 said, her voice trembling, I can't do this. I can't live the life they want for me. I want to write. Her grandmother listened patiently, her eyes filled with compassion. When 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 finished, she took her hand. My dear, she said, life is too short to live someone else's dream. You have a gift, 𝐈𝐓'𝐒. You must nurture it. Her grandmother's words gave her the courage she needed. But she also knew that breaking free would come at a cost. The reckoning. 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 decided to apply for a writing program in another city far away from her family's influence. It was a long shot, but she had to try. She poured all her energy into her application, writing with a fervor she had never felt before. Weeks later, an email arrived. She'd been accepted. 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 knew this was it. This was her chance to finally live her own life. But telling her parents would be a battle. She waited for the right moment during the family dinner. The atmosphere was tense, filled with unspoken expectations. Finally, she took a deep breath and spoke. I have something to tell you, she said, her voice trembling slightly. Her father frowned. What is it, 𝐂𝐓'𝐒? Can it wait? No, it can't, she said, her voice gaining strength. I've been accepted into a writing program. Silence descended on the table. Her mother gasped. Her father's face turned red. For a writing program, he roared. Are you serious? This is what you've been hiding from us? I want to be a writer, 𝐂𝐓'𝐒 said, her voice firm. This is my dream. Your dream? What about our dreams for you? What about your responsibilities? Her mother cried, her voice laced with disappointment. My responsibility is to myself, 𝐈𝐓'𝐒, tears welling up in her eyes. I can't live a lie anymore. The argument escalated. Harsh words were exchanged. Accusations were thrown around like stones. Her father threatened to disown her. Her mother pleaded with her to reconsider. But 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 stood her ground. She had finally found her voice, and she wouldn't let anyone silence it. The flight and the fall, 𝐈𝐓'𝐒's decision led to a complete rupture with her family. Her father cut her off financially, and her mother refused to speak to her. Rohan, of course, was out of the picture. She was alone with nothing but her dreams and a suitcase full of clothes. The writing program was challenging but exhilarating. 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 thrived in the creative environment, surrounded by like-minded individuals who understood her passion. She worked hard, honing her craft, pouring her life experiences into her writing. But life was not easy. She struggled to make ends meet, working part-time jobs to pay her rent and tuition fees. There were times when she doubted herself, when the weight of her family's disapproval felt unbearable. One day, she received a message that her grandmother was seriously ill. 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 desperately wanted to see her, but she knew her parents wouldn't allow it. The pain of being estranged from her family was almost too much to bear. 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 decided to go anyway. She booked a bus ticket and traveled through the night, arriving at her grandmother's house exhausted and filled with apprehension. Her parents were there, of course. The atmosphere was icy. Her father refused to acknowledge her, and her mother's eyes were filled with a mixture of anger and sadness. But when 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 saw her grandmother, lying frail and pale in bed, nothing else mattered. She rushed to her side, taking her hand. "Daddy," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. Her grandmother smiled weakly. "𝐈𝐓'𝐒, my dear," she said, her voice barely audible. "I'm so proud of you. You followed your heart." Those words were a balm to 𝐈𝐓'𝐒's soul. She spent the next few days by her grandmother's side, reading to her, talking to her, cherishing every moment. The awakening, her grandmother passed away peacefully, surrounded by her family. At the funeral, 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 felt a profound sense of loss, but also a sense of closure. Her grandmother's death had brought her family together, albeit reluctantly. Her father, seeing the grief in 𝐈𝐓'𝐒's eyes, finally softened. He approached her after the funeral, his face etched with sorrow. "𝐈𝐓'𝐒," he said, his voice subdued. "I was wrong. I should have supported you. You have your own life to live." 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 was stunned. This was the first time her father had ever admitted he was wrong. "Thank you, Baba," she said, tears streaming down her face. Her mother also approached her, her eyes filled with remorse. "I'm sorry, 𝐈𝐓'𝐒," she said. "I just wanted what was best for you. But I realize now that you know what's best for yourself." 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 and her parents reconciled, slowly and tentatively. It wasn't easy, but they were all willing to try. 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 resumed her studies with renewed determination, knowing that she had her family's support, even if they didn't fully understand her passion. The new dawn. Years later, 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 stood on a stage, accepting an award for her debut novel. It was a powerful and moving story about a young woman who dared to defy expectations and follow her dreams. Her parents were in the audience, beaming with pride. Rohan was there too, with his wife and children. He gave 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 a respectful nod, a silent acknowledgement of her success. As 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 looked out at the audience, she realized how far she had come. She had faced adversity, overcome obstacles, and emerged stronger and more resilient. She had found her voice, and she had used it to inspire others. In her acceptance speech, 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 spoke about the importance of following your dreams, even when they seem impossible. She talked about the courage it takes to break free from expectations and live authentically. "We all have a story to tell," she said, her voice ringing with conviction. "Don't let anyone silence you. Wake up before it's too late." The twist. After the award ceremony, a woman approached 𝐈𝐓'𝐒. She was older, with kind eyes and a knowing smile. "𝐈𝐓'𝐒," she said, "I need to tell you something." 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 looked at her, puzzled. "Who are you?" "I'm the one who sent you the book," the woman said, her eyes sparkling. "I saw the light in you, the fire in your soul. I knew you had a story to tell." 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 gasped. "You're the anonymous sender. But who are you really?" The woman smiled. "I was your grandmother's best friend. She asked me to look out for you, to nudge you in the right direction." 𝐈𝐓'𝐒 was overwhelmed with emotion. Her grandmother had been her secret champion, guiding her from beyond the grave. "Thank you," she said, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you for believing in me."